Let's talk about the Manchester United 2, Tottenham 2. We did talk about Desmond being potential score for this or goals, and ended up being that way. You talk about Wolves beating Brighton. God, I would like that, because if we can beat Sheffield United, and I know there's a couple of what ifs there, it gives a 5-point cushion from 6th to 7th, which is pretty big all of a sudden.
And you'd be 3 points behind my team, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to just look at 6th as where we would want to just build a cushion for 6th really at the moment. But
I shall quote the great Bill Nicholson and tell you it is better to aim high and fail than aim low and succeed.
Yeah, I mean, when you're already well above where you think you're going to be. But let's see, look, we have a similar problem to you in that attacking talent was very lacking, in the sense of no Kulu, no Maddison, no Son. And these are three of probably your creative better players. Having said that, Richarlison, you'd say maybe gets into a first choice 11, maybe not. Timo Werner's no mug, even though some people might say so. Brennan Johnson, you play.
He's no mug. As long as he's not shooting, he's fine.
Yeah, and so it wasn't like you're left with like 18-year-old kids, but you are lacking certain talent and definitely certain creativity. And Højbjerg and Skippers, no Bissouma and Sarr.
Listen,
so
the two of them both played well.
Anything outside your back five, you were second choice players for a lot of it, so you got to give yourselves credit for being able to do well with that.
This was the most I'd sweated over a team lineup all season. I just spent basically I spent most of the Everton Aston Villa game searching for Kulusevski news, because it was it obviously gone round that he was ill on Saturday. Then he had travelled, we think, to Manchester. He'd spotted getting off a coach. Then on Sunday afternoon, it was they're not going to risk him. He's not up to it. And you know Ange loves him, right? Ange doesn't even take him off. And with Lo Celso got injured and Maddison not quite ready yet, he was going to obviously have to play in the 8-10 hybrid position. So seeing he was out, and you look at that midfield and you think, fucking hell, Højbjerg, Skip and Bentancur. Bentancur really should separate from that conversation.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't chuck him in the same sentence.
I love him. I mean, for me, he was best player on the pitch and deserved man of the match. Brilliant player. What a miss he's been for us, which I think people forget as well, because he'd been out for so long. Yeah, what a player he is. But the problem with that three is, in terms of their best position,
it's all the same, isn't it?
They're all more defensive players, aren't they? I mean, Bentancur's taken a real onus on with the goal. And we were having a big debate in terms of what was he going to do? Was he going to play Bentancur as a 6 and use the other two as like runners? Or was he going to play Bentancur as a 10 so that he could try and act as that creative player and have Skip as the 8 with Højbjerg sitting deep? And what he chose was neither. He went to halfway house with Bentancur and played him as the 8. Played Højbjerg as the 6. I thought Pierre Højbjerg played really well, actually. And Ollie Skip played as the 10. I mean, it's madness, isn't it? But what Ollie was able to do is obviously he could join Richarlison in that first line of defence and press really well. And actually, he linked the game quite well. Like, he's too slow in his execution, but he linked the game quite well. Even on the pass for Bentancur's goal, Skip plays the ball behind Werner. Like, it's little frustrations that but it's not impacted the fact that he scored.
Quality just isn't quite there. What do you make of the fact you had your first choice back 5, including the goalkeeper?
Yes.
And Højbjerg's quite defensive. You still conceded a couple of goals here, though. And then
Talking Tactics last week.
And then Van de Ven's gone off injured towards the end.
So didn't watch Talking Tactics.
Is he... I mean, look, you guys give up chances.
On the left-hand side specifically quite badly.
Is Van de Ven out for a while? We don't know yet.
No, cramp, fine.
Oh, fine,
no
okay.
problem.
Just a little bit.
Yeah,
of
he actually should have been. We were saying in the pub, like, get him off earlier. You could see he was struggling.
But look, he's just come back, right? So
yeah, and he's a huge boost because obviously with that high line, his recovery is madness. Like, his turn of pace is a joke for someone who's so tall. Romero, quite often I speak so much about the distribution and the benefit of him being back. As much as I'd said about Skip's pass to Werner, Romero's pass to Skip is a joke. And Kobe Mino just gets completely taken out of the game, which is not his fault. It's because United have gone to press and overloaded it. Mino as the single pivot, which is what I've said I think Ten Hag wants to do, had a choice in terms of whether to go and cut off the pass to Bentancur, get near him rather, or stay with Skip. Now, I know what choice I'd have made. I'd have gone to cover Bentancur, which is what he did, but Romero reversed it. And then we're obviously playing through lines. And from our perspective, it was a great goal. It was a really bad one from Manchester United's perspective.
one of the things we want to do in FPL is try and get on players early. The fact that he scored 2 goals and assist in the last 3, I don't know if you can call it getting on early. Any thoughts around Marcus Rashford at all?
Yeah, for last week, yeah.
Well, yeah. But look, I think even if you'd have said to me, yeah, he's going to do all right, I'm like, yeah, I haven't seen enough to give me the confidence. But look, he hit the post. He's put one away. He's clearly getting a little bit more confident.
Did he hit the post?
Vicario tipped it onto the post, didn't he? From the edge of the box. He took a shot and Vicario tipped it onto the post and it went off. That was a Rashford shot.
I've got no recollection of that. Maybe I went for a week.
Yeah, no, Vicario tipped it and it hit the post. I think Vicario got fingertips on it.
We're talking about the same game here, Suj.
Rashford, I'm sure. It was in the highlights. He hit the far post in the first
I even
half.
watched the highlights back last night and I don't remember it. Mind you, I'd had a couple. I don't recall that at all.
Okay, I'm going to double check on SofaScore now with the shot map. But
yeah, please do, yeah. Look, it goes back to the piece I did last week, is that Tottenham have a real problem with switches from right to the left. It's more emphasised that side rather than the other way, just because I think Udogie is a more imposing player to run at, whereas Porro does tend to back off to the penalty area. Udogie goes and meets things earlier, and that's it, essentially. So I think teams are targeting quick switches of play right to left. I mean, Bruno Fernandes, strategically in the game, his role was, I don't want to say smash it over the top, but basically as soon as he got it, can you get it into that front three and in behind as quickly as possible? And he did that really well, particularly in the first half. Then he and United tired the longer the game went on. So would Rashford suddenly be back on my radar? Not really. I still see frustrations in.
It's annoying that he's still so
expensive,
you know. He's 8.4 still.
Look, I'd been saying last week that had I been on wildcard last week, I probably would have punted him as a real short term, as a placeholder for, say, Mo Salah. I don't think now at this moment that you're probably looking to. I mean, I presume people's most look for this week is going to be what's happening with De Bruyne, what's happening with Haaland. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Rather than, Rashford's in a bit of form again. Now, I'm sure some will look at it, but I don't think the fixture run's the greatest for United. Was it Wolves away next?
No, it's just about trying to get on someone early, I suppose, more than anything else.
This is the one thing that blanks and doubles do, though. They do concentrate your mind, I think, to a small number of teams, basically. So, I mean, if you didn't have Phil Foden, how were you buying Marcus Rashford over Phil Foden at this moment would be the point.
Yeah.
Can you add Marcus Rashford to that? Yeah, sure, of course you can. Could you have a midfield right now that was De Bruyne, Foden, Palmer, Rashford? Sure. But you might not want to get rid of Jared Bowen if maybe Bowen might even be back for this weekend. I don't think their fixtures coming up are great from memory, Suj. I know it's Wolves away. They go to Villa a few after that, don't they? West Ham at home.
Got us.
Luton away and Fulham at home 25-26 is good. Then they go to City 27. Sheffield United is probably a likely blank in 29 as it would stand at the moment. They've got a game with Everton in 28. So, no, I just think it was a good matchup for Rashford at the weekend playing against my team. So I would have no interest in United assets at the moment. They will be strengthened, obviously, by having Martinez back. I think that really helped him in the last half hour of the game.
Rasmus Højlund, any
took his goal brilliantly. I mean, it's a super finish. He's obviously scored in a couple of games now in a row at Old Trafford. That's certainly going to help and improve his confidence. I think people stop talking about you scored none. He scored against Villa Tottenham now. He scored against 2 good teams. And the 2 finishes are both really good finishes. So he'll stay through the team now. I think Garnacho on the right is not as effective as on the left. But it's the same situation for Rashford, and either on the right is still a better scenario for them than playing Anthony there. So I don't think that will change. I'd rather go and get Garnacho than Rashford still. Just that saving of the money. You use Garnacho as a sub, whatever. That's more the move that's going to be more interesting, because then that facilitates your Saka to De Bruyne or Foden to De Bruyne, or if that's the sort of move you're looking at doing this week. So Garnacho's still the only real United player of interest. What they did quite cute as well, obviously Wan-Bissaka played left back and Varane played left-sided centre-back, when you'd probably expect both of them to have been the other way around. And I think a lot of that was to do with Rashford and obviously how far forward Pedro Porro particularly moves from his position. It was trying to leave Rashford high so they could have that on turnovers and defend that side better. So Wan-Bissaka, as we know, is a very good 1v1 defender. I thought both fullbacks played quite well for United, but I thought he particularly was pretty good defensively. And Varane has a better shield there than Evans. I mean, on Tottenham's second equaliser, people criticise on Arnold, Evans is pathetic. Yep. It just lets Bentancur stroll past him. So Martinez being back as well is going to be a big bonus. Casemiro's close. Mason Mount's close. Luke Shaw, we thought originally was probably going to play, was absent. Close. They themselves, in fairness, have had injuries and getting players back fit, as are my team about to as well, because we do think James Maddison will rejoin full training this week.
Nice.
And with 2 weeks till, I say 2 weeks, it's 11 days till the cup game with City. It's another one where he suddenly might be back in the team against Brentford. You talk about getting on players on early. Well, Rashford's already had some returns the last 3. You want to get on a player as a differential early. Yeah. James Maddison is one to really keep an eye on if he gets good minutes against Man City, because he'll go back in. I think what Tottenham will do in the meantime, if he's back, Kulusevski will go back to the right, Werner will stay on the left, Richarlison will play up front. Each Johnson would be the one that would lose his place, unless they want to go proper rogue and play Kulusevski and Maddison together with Bentancur behind up. I don't quite see that. I think that would be really, really short term. And I think the balance at the moment would be better with Højbjerg as the 6 and Bentancur as this roaming 8, which I think still get the best out of Porro as well. So, yeah, some good fixtures coming up for Tottenham. 3 of the next 4 are at home. And it might even be that, although it would be a blank in 26, it could even be that 5 of our next 6 league games are at home, Suj, if we don't play that Chelsea game in 26. And it's Palace at home in 27. So I wouldn't say it's not too late to invest in Tottenham, but you need the awareness that 26 could well be a blank. And if you've got, Palmer, Gusto, Liverpool players, investing in something like Maddison, most people ain't going to be able to do it. But if you're looking at, say, a wild card 26, some might look at that, then that would make Tottenham more appealing. Richarlison, in summary, is much better in games like this, when he has to do more ugly stuff. I thought he was great, Suj. And the less time, basically, if he has no thinking time when he's finishing, he's fine. If he has thinking time, problem. That, when he just gets on the end of a cross, no problem. And he gives Tottenham a different threat. Some of them corners Porro put in yesterday,